That's a good question. It's kind of spoiled for you. Unless something is so different. I mean, I was as taken out of myself by the artist as anybody else this year, that film. It was so unexpected to see a black and white silent film. It was so bold and such a sweet, wonderfully done film that I didn't sit there thinking, well, a little part of me that said, how the hell in the world did they get this made? but I didn't stand outside from the characters. You know, it helps when it's foreign actors too. It helps when you're not just saying, oh, that's Dustin Hoffman doing his shtick again. You know, it helps if it's actors that you can believe are those characters because you're not familiar with them.
I would be really happy to see Dustin Hoffman doing his shtick again on the big screen.
He doesn't do much anymore.
Well, he had that HBO show.
They euthanized. His leg was broken.
Yeah, I'm going to tell this little anecdote because I think everybody probably does this. You know, do people come up to you and quote the movie to you? Yes. How many times have you been offered fava beans? I thought about it. I was like, I'm going to bring fava beans in a canteen and we'll just, you know, give it to somebody in the audience. That's probably been done before.
It's worse for Tom Harris, who said to me one time, the most famous line in my life, I didn't write. Thank you very much.
That line?
The line, I'm having an old friend for dinner.
Oh.
People always say, I lost that line. Thank you.
I don't know how many, this is the line I've used. I don't know how many times that I've gotten, you know, I won't say into arguments with my wife, but when I'm being berated by my wife, and I turn to her and say, why don't you turn that power perception on yourself? I'm afraid to.
What's it like sleeping on the couch?
She's a doctor too, I guess, so it's like doctor.
His wife's a doctor, so she does have high power perception.
Yeah, she does. But yeah, I mean, she really wanted to be here because I think that's her favorite film.
She has a real job.
She has a real job, yeah. But that was a movie that, you know, just really, that she can watch over and over again. There's like not that many. She's not a movie person, but
I don't know what to say to people who say it's their favorite film. I don't turn my back on them.
But you know, this is the thing about, you know, you've talked a little bit about the parallel between Clarice, between Annie and the juror, and the sort of empowerment of women's stories. I think that speaks to a lot of people, you know. That there's a certain...
Women are just better characters. They are. They're more dramatic and they're more dramatic.
And
they don't have to blow things up to get your attention.
No. And there's something that's very, you know, there's so many elements that are in that story that are going on about sort of that transition from innocence to experience and learning how to be that thing that you're going to be and putting all those things you learn, all those experiences into this new test. And, you know, I think that's what really resonates with a lot of people. In The Juror, there's a line that gets repeated, who's going to protect you? You know, and in the end, it's Demi Moore's character who's the protector.
I always thought that movie would have been better if the two women switched parts. If Anne Hesh had been the central character, and Demi Moore had been the tough sidekick.
Might be right. How much do you think of casting? Or even when you're writing the thing, are you thinking about particular people playing the parts? When you were doing Signs, were you thinking of Gene Hackman?
No. I was thinking of Jodie Foster.
Really?
Yeah. Jodie Foster called me, found out, and I was working in a borrowed office. Still not quite sure how she tracked me down. And we had never met or spoken. And somebody came in and said, there's a call for you, it's Jodie Foster. Okay. And she said, hi, how you doing? You know, how's the weather? It was like, why did this woman call me? And she said, well, I hope someday, you know, you'll write a part for me. And I said, I think I'm already writing a really good part for you. And she said, I know you are. So finally we were getting down to it. And the script was half written. And she was already campaigning for that part.
Yeah.
So
there's I think Edward is an incredible actor. There's something that I think he's miscast in that picture. I don't like him.
Is this being filmed? He's not a nice guy. He's not a good collaborator.
Who?
He's
a very good actor in the right part.
I think that's, yeah, absolutely.
But
Primal Fear,
yes,
you buy him in that.
He's an extraordinary actor.
The first frame to the last.
The right part.
But in
But there's
Dragon,
something
missing.
cold and distant about him. Something not empathetic about him.
And I think that's where I like William Peterson in that part.
Yes.
Because there's a maturity to him, and it's not just a scruffy beard. It's just sort of
just
an older
you
sense.
cared about him more. You liked him more. You liked him more. There was a point in the casting of Red Dragon when Sean Penn wanted to play that part. That would have been interesting. That would have been interesting. But then he did like a Hollywood star thing and said, and I also want to play Dollarhide. We said, what? He said, yeah, I want to play the detective and the bad guy. Dino De Laurentiis, the late Dino De Laurentiis, was producing. Edward Norton, where does he think he is? That was the end of that. No, I'm sorry. Sean. He sells no tickets. Neither does Ed. So.
Okay.
Well, that was an extraordinary cast overall.
No, it was, and like you said, you know, the Philip Seymour Hoffman is a bit hard.
Ray Fiennes is extraordinary. No, that may have been from top to bottom the best cast.
And you got to replicate some of the actors from Silence of the Lambs.
Yes.
Like I can't think of his name, who plays Dr. Chilton. And
Tony Heald.
Tony Heald.
And Frankie Faison.
Yeah. 3 actors were in both movies. That's never happened to me in any other. I've never gotten to work with an actor. Usually they refuse to work.
Right. That's fantastic. I mean, it brings this other level to the movie that's like, really feels so.
In fact, Frankie Faison was in Manhunter, I think.
That's right.
And Hannibal. He's been in every one ever made. Get a life.
Thanks to Thomas Harrison and a career. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming tonight, and we hope you will join us at the incredible opportunity to see Silence of the Lambs in 35mm in a day when everything is going digital.
The print is scratched.
It's a scratch.
Yeah, we're going to go with 35mm.
Oh, no, they're good. They still are.
It's 35.
Okay. You know what? Scratch 35. I'm
It's still more alive.
It's more alive.